Hello and welcome to part 13 of the series on computer networks. I hope you have watched the previous parts of this series. If not, you can always go and check out. The links are given in the description. Our today's topic of discussion is network protocols. So let's try to understand what a protocol is. So a protocol may be defined as a set of rules that govern data communication. It represents an agreement between the communicating devices. For example, let us consider we have two nodes. Let's say this is one node and this is another node. These two nodes will be communicating with each other. Let's say this computer, this is computer 1, this is computer 2. Let's say this computer says that I'll be communicating with rule A, and the second computer says that no, I will not be communicating with rule A, rather I'll be communicating with rule B. Then the communication cannot happen. For communication to happen, both the parties, means both the nodes, must agree that they will be communicating with the help of a common rule. If both the parties agree that they will be communicating with rule A, then communication can happen, or if both the parties agree that they will communicate with rule B, then also the communication will happen. But if there is a conflict between the nodes regarding the protocol, then communication cannot take place. So let's try to understand it with the help of a real life example. So without a protocol, two devices may be connected but may not be communicating. As you have seen in the example of the nodes, without the protocol, they may be connected. Yes, you can connect it with the help of a wire, but they cannot communicate with each other. Let's try to understand it with the help of two examples, case 1 and case 2. In case 1, let's say we have two persons. The first person is the first person and this is the second person. Let's say the first person understands Tamil and the second person understands Hindi. Now, can they communicate with each other? No, they cannot communicate with each other because both the languages of communication are not same. As the first person does not understand Hindi and the second person does not understand Tamil, now the communication cannot happen. So we can say that this is a case of communication failure. Now let's go to case 2. Similarly, we have the same two persons. Now the first person can understand Hindi and the second person can also understand Hindi. Now can the communication happen? Yes, the communication can happen because both have agreed to communicate with the help of a common protocol. So you should always remember that for communication to be successful, the protocols must be same. So now we go to the different types of protocol. So first we'll be discussing about TCPIP, then FTP, then PPP, HTTP, the full forms are given side by side, then HTTPS, then SSL, then VoIP, and finally NFC or near field communications. There are some more communications which comes under email communications. I'll be discussing it in the next part. So without further ado, let us go to the first type of protocol, which is TCP/IP. So TCP/IP, it stands for Transmission Control Protocol / Internet Protocol. So it is a set of protocols. Set of protocols means within TCP/IP there are various protocols, or here you can see there are two protocols. One is TCP, another is IP. So similarly, there are various protocols which are incorporated under TCP/IP, and this set of protocols make the internet possible. It specifies how devices exchange data over the internet through one another. So with the help of this protocol, it can be specified how devices communicate with each other. So it identifies how data should be broken down, addressed, transmitted, routed, received for sharing. So all of you know that suppose I have some data, let's say I need to send A, B, C, D, E, F, C, H, I, this through a network. Now this entire net data will not go together, they will be broken down into certain fragments. Let's say the first fragment is AB, second fragment is CD, third fragment is EF, next is let's say ZH, next is suppose I0. So they will at first be broken down into some fragments and then they will be transmitted via the transmission medium, and here the work of router will come and various other work will happen in the middle. So all these things is handled with the help of this protocol called TCP/IP. Then TCP, so here there are two parts, TCP and IP. TCP manages how messages should be broken down into packets before transmission. The example which I gave just now, here the TCP or the transmission control protocol, it specifies how the entire data is broken down into certain fragments before sending it via the transmission medium. And the next part, which is IP or the internet protocol, it defines how to address and route the packets for delivery. After breaking down into fragments, they will go via what? Via transmission medium. How they will go via the transmission medium, the addressing part and to which device they will go, this is handled with the help of IP or the internet protocol. Let's go to the next type of protocol, which is FTP or file transfer protocol. From the name only it is evident that this protocol is used to exchange files over the internet. It is a very secure way of communication over the internet. Let's see the objectives of FTP. The objectives are to promote sharing of files. With the help of this protocol, we can share files like computer programs and or data also. To encourage indirect or implicit use of remote computers. So with the help of these protocols, by sitting on one computer, we can control other computers also. To shield the user from variations in file storage systems among different hosts. Let's say there are different types of file systems like NTFS, FAT, etc. So if there are variations, if I am the sender and my file system is, let's say, NTFS, and in the receiver's end if the file system is FAT, that is also managed with the help of FTP. Means if there are different file systems in different nodes, then it can also be handled with the help of FTP or file transfer protocol. So its another use is to transfer data reliably and efficiently. It is a very reliable mode of communication and also it is efficient. What are the advantages of FTP? It is very useful to transfer files from one network in an organization to another. So you can send files with the help of this from one network to another. It is an effective way to gather a geographically dispersed group to cooperate on a project. Suppose there is a big project which are assigned in an organizations, and in your organizations there are, let's say, 3 persons who are assigned who were working on that project, but they do not have expertise in a different domain, and so the different domain which your organization do not have expertise in can be shared with the help of can be managed with the help of a different organizations whose persons have expertise in that domain. And in that way, if they are, even if the persons are geographically apart, they can communicate on a project. For example, with the help of communities like GitHub and all, you can collaborate on project with different persons all over the globe. It uses FTP. Next, it is a potent and popular way to share information about over the internet. It is a very strong way to share data or information over the internet. Next, we go to PPP protocol or point-to-point protocol. Point-to-point, this word means that there is a direct connection between the two devices. So it is a communication protocol that is used to transmit data between two directly connected nodes. If the nodes are directly connected to one another, then the protocol which is used in such a case is called point-to-point protocol. Next, users that connect their home computers to the server of an internet service provider use PPP. Suppose you have taken a broadband connection and you have a modem. So you will be connecting via what? Via wired medium, and you will be connecting to your internet service provider, and for connecting to the internet service provider you will be using the protocol PPP. So these users have a traditional modem and they are connected to the internet via telephone lines. So if you are communicating via PPP protocol having a broadband connection, then these users they typically connect with the help of a landline telephone line. Next we go to a very important protocol called HTTP or Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It is a communications protocol for the transfer of information on the internet, for sending request to the web server and for receiving data from the web server. This protocol is widely used. So you will see that suppose you give a website name, and before that website the protocol comes, and typically in most cases you will find that the protocol is HTTP, or in some case HTTPS, which we shall come in the next section. So it is a TCP/IP based internet protocol. While discussing TCP/IP, I said that it is a set of protocols, means within TCP/IP there are various protocols. One of the protocols is HTTP, which is inside TCP/IP protocol. So its original purpose was to provide a way to publish and retrieve hypertext pages over the internet. So when HTTP protocol was first launched, its aim was to transfer only web pages, hypertext pages, or the HTML pages. All of you know about HTML. It is used to make web pages. So its original work was only to receive hypertext pages, but with the passage of time now it is also used to deliver contents like images, videos, audios, documents, and also documents also apart from web pages. So it is a request response standard between a client and server. Here I'll explain it with the help of an animated example. Here we have a client and the server. The client will request the services of the server, and after that the server will respond with its service. A client is the end user and the server is the website. So if you are searching for a particular website, then you are the client, and to whom you are requesting the service, that party is known as the web server. Let us try to understand the working of HTTP with the help of an animated example. Let's say we have a client, and this is the client. This is the HTTP client. The client is the web browser. For communicating with the internet, you cannot use any other software. You have to use a software known as web browser. It is used to communicate with the internet. Then we'll have a server. It is known as the HTTP server or the web server. Now, at first, what will happen? The HTTP client or the web browser, let's say you have searched for www.google.com. That means what you have given? You have given an HTTP request. That request will go from your web browser to the HTTP server. Then the server will process the request, and after processing the request, what it will do? It will send you a response. It will send you a response along with the web page which you have requested. What is the web page which you have requested? You have requested www.google.com. So it will send the response to the client. That means it will send the response to your web browser and you can access that page. So this is the working of HTTP. Next we go to the next protocol, which is HTTPS protocol. It is a combination of HTTP protocol along with security. Means whatever data we send via HTTP, it is not encrypted. Not encrypted means now do you know the meaning of encryption? Encryption means hiding information. Suppose you are sending ABC. If it goes in the form of XYZ, what was the original data? This was the original data ABC, but you have hidden it in the form of XYZ. That means what you have done here, you have done encryption here. So if you are sending ABC via a HTTP protocol, it will go through the transmission medium as ABC only. So a third party may be able to read your message. Means it is secure or unsecure? It is definitely a unsecure mode of communication. Therefore, but if you suppose you are browsing a blog or you are browsing some normal data, then even if it is read by a third party, then there is no problem. But if you are performing some online banking transactions, then your data is very sensitive, so you do not want any third party to read your data. So in that case, you will be wanting to encrypt your data. And how this encryption is done? It is done with the help of HTTPS protocol. So if you are sending ABC, let's say it is converted into this, means it is encrypted, and this is transmitted via the transmission medium. Okay, so you should remember that in case of HTTPS protocol, the data is encrypted before sending, and at the receiver's end it is again decrypted, means it is again converted back to the original form, and it is a secure mode of communication. Okay, so it is a combination of HTTP and SSL/TLS protocol. So here you will require HTTP protocol. Obviously, the request response model will be there. But along with that, we require something else known as SSL or TLS protocol. I'll be discussing with SSL with you in the next part, in the next section of this part only. So here we'll require HTTP. Along with that, we will require SSL or TLS protocol. So it provides encrypted communication and secure identification of a network web server by establishing a secure channel over a non-secure network to ensure protected data transfer. So it makes a secure channel so that whatever data you are sending to the from the sender to the receiver, it goes with total protection such that other third party cannot read your data. So in case of this protocol, data is protected from eavesdropper. Eavesdropper means suppose someone is sending some data, and in the middle if you can read the data, then you are known as a eavesdropper. So but here eavesdropper cannot do their work here because the data is encrypted and highly secure. So data is protected from eavesdropper. So it is mostly used in banking transactions to enable secure online transaction. So if you go to some sensitive websites like online SBI website, Flipkart, Amazon, and various other reputed websites, you will find the protocol not as HTTP but as HTTPS. And you can recognize the symbol. It has a green color symbol with a padlock. So HTTPS connections can be verified. You can verify it that it is HTTPS connection. How you can verify it? Because it consists of a padlock sign. It will have the symbol of a lock. So here this is a typical this one comparison of HTTP and HTTPS. If this is the user and we are connecting via a normal HTTP connection, then the communication is very insecure. Anyone can read the information. But if you are communicating via HTTPS protocol, via a normal network itself, then it is secured. And why it is secured? Because the data is encrypted. Means whatever you are sending, it is not sent in the same form in which you are sending the data. It is encrypted before sending to the sender. Next we go to SSL or secure sockets layer. In the first line of HTTPS protocol, it was mentioned that it is a combination of HTTP protocol and SSL or TLS protocol. We'll be dealing with only SSL protocol. So if you want to convert, suppose you have a online website and by default you will get it as a HTTP website. But if you want it to be more secure, then you have to apply for a certificate known as a digital certificate, so that the other users who will come to your website can verify that you are a genuine entity. So what is it? It is a so if you are using HTTPS protocol, you require HTTP HTTP protocol, and along with that you will require SSL. So it is a protocol that is used to that is used to ensure security on the internet. For ensuring that the data you are sending or receiving is secure and encrypted, you will require a protocol called SSL, or Secure Sockets Layer. So what is it? It is an SSL certificate is a digital certificate issued by a competent authority to authenticate the identity of a website. So if you want your if you have a website and you want your website to be much more secure, then you need to apply for a certificate known as SSL certificate from an authority known as competent authority. There are various examples of competent authority like VeriSign and various others. They will do some preliminary investigation on your website, and after that they will verify your identity and give you that certificate. A website owner needs to apply for a SSL certificate from competent authority. Then after investigation, the competent authority will issue the SSL certificate to the website. So it is used to know that the website we are visiting is genuine and trustworthy. So if the website has an SSL certificate, you can ensure that the website is genuine and trustworthy. So let's try to understand the working of SSL. Let's say we have a client. Obviously here also we'll have a client and a server, which is the web browser, and a server, which is the HTTP server. Now what the client will do? Client will at first say, hey website, identify yourself. That means it will request before the beginning of transmission and reception of data, the client will ask the website to identify itself. Then the server will say, sure, here is my SSL certificate. At first, before giving it the data, it will send its SSL certificate to the client. So this is the SSL certificate. SSL certificate will be sent to the client. After that, the client will be sure that the website that he or she is visiting is genuine, and then it will say, looks good, I can trust you. So the trust is ensured. After trust is ensured, then the server will say, okay, let's exchange encrypted data. You should pay attention to this word. Let's exchange not only data but encrypted data, means data will be secured. After that, what will happen? Communication will take place. See, I've given a padlock here, and encrypted data will be shared between the two entities. Next is VoIP protocol, or voice over internet protocol. So there are two cases. One is, let's say you want to make a phone call to someone. So for that you will require a mobile network connection, and let's say you want to browse a website. For that you require another data connection. But VoIP is such a protocol via which you can use the data communication channel for voice communication. It is a very useful communication strategy. It is provided by Jio and various other networks nowadays. You can communicate via internet. You can do voice calls via internet. So it is a technology that enables voice communications over the internet through compression of voice into data packets that can be efficiently transmitted over data networks and then converted back into voice at the other end. For example, let's say these are two mobile devices, and you want to make voice call via the internet. So what will be done here? Your voice signals will be converted into data signals, and it will be sent via the communication channel, and at the other end it will again be reconverted back to voice so that the other entity can read your data, means read your voice. So it is a technology which enables voice communications over the internet by compression of voice, means voice is compressed into data packets and they are efficiently transmitted via the transmission medium. It allows for the transmission of voice along with other data and provides an alternative to traditional telephone networks. So if your network service provider supports VoIP, then you can use the internet connection for talking with your friends also and for browsing the internet also. So what are the advantages? So paying for both a broadband connection and a traditional telephone line can be avoided. Your cost will get reduced drastically because just by one connection, you can ensure that you can browse the internet and also you can talk with other persons via VoIP. Smoother connection than analog signal can be provided. So the connections are much more smoother and there is no signal break often in case of VoIP or voice over internet protocol. Next we go to NFC or near field communications. So it is a it looks like, so mobile devices generally have this technology. Some mobile devices, it is called NFC or near field communication. The logo is something like this. So it is a protocol that is used to provide short range wireless connectivity between two electronic devices within a range of 4 to 5 centimeter. So it is a protocol. With the help of this protocol, short range wireless connectivity can be established. Now how the connection is established? Suppose two mobiles which have NFC, then they need to come close to one another and the range should be only between 4 to 5 centimeter, and after that with the help of NFC technology they can exchange messages, then this one data, apps and various other resources. So it is a very fast mode of communication and it is a very secure mode of communication because the two entities needs to come very close for NFC to perform well. I hope you have understood about these protocols. Next we'll be dealing with the email communications protocol. Thank you very much.